We'll get into some Bears news and rumors coming up in here in a second. But first, I got to say I'm a little disappointed over the last 28 days. The 49ers report has more subscribers than we do. We have 461 over the last 28 days. They have 621 new subscribers. That's 160 more than we have. Come on, Bears fans. I know there's more of you out there than 49ers fans. So if you want to beat Chase Sr. in the 49ers report, subscribe right now. And we got videos every day. Just another reason to subscribe to the channel. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Happy Monday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It is now time to catch you guys up on the latest surrounding this football team. And not a lot going on in late June as we're just under a month until training camp, but Darnell Mooney joined Redline Radio of Barstool Sports, and he kind of ripped Matt Nagy in the process without directly naming him. Here's what he had to say, quote, "You could definitely feel the energy. A lot of guys just having that time like, let's just get this over with. It's getting brutal out here, just continuing losing. It's definitely hard to have the mindset going into next week like, my God, we just keep losing." And then he talked about the new regime, said it's smooth. Everyone knows where to go, when to do something, what's the expectation, what's the standard. You know what you're getting out of the next day. It's not coming in like, what do we got going on? Everybody knows exactly what the coaches want. This is just more evidence that by mid last season, if not earlier, Matt Nagy and the prior regime had just lost complete control and trust from the players. I mean, no one wanted to play for him anymore. No one really believed in him anymore. I think that's the key. Once you lose the locker room, once players look you in the eye and they're like, I don't believe in what you're saying, what you're preaching, it's over. And that is what happened with Matt Nagy last season. At some point, I think it was after that Browns performance, which Mooney talked about, saying he's never been a part of a game that disastrous when they only had like 60 yards of total offense and Justin Fields got sacked 9 times. I think they were cooked after that, and that is really when the Matt Nagy era ended. Let's go back in time, just like old times. Thanks, Nagy. Woo, good control last year. Really did some good things for the Bears in 2021. So get the thanks Nagy's going down in the comments because producer Jack, he started this, and I want you guys to just type thanks Nagy. It's, of course, in a sarcastic tone down in the comments. If nothing else, and look, this team has not played a game yet under Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles as the GM. This regime at least seems competent. I mean, you guys saw the second part of that Mooney quote saying, yeah, people know what they're doing. They know what the expectations are. This coaching staff has us ready to go. There's at least competency with this new group. Now, we'll see if it pans out or not. Time will tell. What I do like as well is Darnell Mooney is emerging as a leader for this football team. You know, last year he broke out, had a 1,000-yard season, despite Nagy's offense being garbage, 4 touchdowns as well. He's becoming a leader for some of these young guys because, believe it or not, Mooney as a third-year player is kind of considered a vet at this point. I mean, we talked about Cole Kmet's kind of being one of those guys. Travis Gibson is emerging as one of those guys. Whether that's a good or bad thing, time will tell. But Darnell Mooney is kind of taking ownership of like, hey, I've been here, we've done that. We gotta raise the expectation in this room. And I think this new Bears regime has done that, and I think the players can feel the energy within the building. Are you happy with the start of the Eberflus-Poles regime? Type H for happy, type U for unhappy. Obviously, it's early. Obviously, we haven't even gotten to training camp yet, and which means we haven't even seen a game yet. But I think so far, so good, right? It's early as hell, but up to this point in time, I think you can feel pretty good about where things are. We'll talk about a couple of rookies here on the show. Velus Jones Jr., is he going to be the surprise rookie of the Chicago Bears? Well, USA Today had a surprise rookie for all 32 teams. They listed Velus Jones as the Bears rookie that could surprise. And look, that makes sense because I think Velus Jones Jr. is going to have a role right away. I think that's what the expectation is. Here's Alyssa Barbary, who's the Bears Wire writer of USA Today, saying it's third-round receiver Velus Jones Jr., who could wind up surprising everyone. Outside of Darnell Mooney, the Bears don't have a proven commodity at receiver, which gives Jones an opportunity to make a strong impression. With his blazing 4.31 speed and run-after-the-catch ability, Jones has the potential to become a dangerous weapon in Luke Getzey's offense and give quarterback Justin Fields a dynamic dynamic option in the passing game. I expect Velus Jones Jr. to contribute from day one. I just do. I think that he's going to start. I think he's going to play a good chunk of offensive snaps. I think he'll contribute on special teams. He needs to have a role on this football team from the beginning, and I think that's going to be the expectation. He broke out his last year as Tennessee as more than just a gadget guy. Did some good things as a receiver, 13 yards a catch, over 800 yards, and 7 touchdowns. We've talked about before how special of a return man he is as both a kick and a punt returner. I think we'll see him in one or both of those roles as well. But again, you look at this wide receiver group, Velus Jones Jr. should compete for big-time playing time and have an opportunity to contribute right away. Because after Darnell Mooney, you know, it's a lot of competition, but competition among guys who haven't proven much. Byron Pringle is solid. He's proven to be a good number 3-ish, 4-ish type of receiver. Is he going to come in and be that number 2? Is Velus Jones going to be that guy? St. Brown, Newsome, David Moore, Tajay Sharp, Pettis. I mean, these guys are, you know, not guys who've done great things in the NFL. So Jones Jr. should be expected to take a step as a rookie into a role on this football team. Now, I want to know from you guys, who is going to be second on the team in receiving? Darnell Mooney, I think we all think, is going to lead the team in receiving. Who's going to be second? Type CK for Cole Kmet. I think he's a sneaky candidate to be second in receiving. Type VJ for Velus Jones Jr. Type BP for Byron Pringle. Or type O for other, or comment a different name down below. Maybe David Montgomery is second on the team in receiving as a running back. Let us know down in the comment section. Now, Bears Now publishes daily videos over on Rumble as well, and some of you guys might be watching this video on Rumble. If you are, hit that follow button. If you're watching on YouTube and looking for another way to support, go give us a follow over there. It's rumble.com/BearsNow. Tons of other content creators over on that platform. Go check it out. It's rumble.com/BearsNow. All right, let's talk about another rookie, Braxton Jones, as we've talked about him being a guy who has stood out during the offseason. ESPN's Courtney Cronin, the latest media member to mention that. She named Jones as a surprise standout of the offseason, as ESPN did an article for every team's surprise standout during the offseason. Jones was listed. More hype continues to come out of Chicago for Jones. And like we've talked about, I mean, as of now, I think this is your favorite to start at left tackle unless there is another signing, or unless Larry Borom or Tevin Jenkins take that from him during training camp. Here's Courtney Cronin. Covers the Bears for ESPN. Fifth-round pick quickly emerged with the first-team offensive line at left tackle during spring practices and supplanted Tevin Jenkins, who moved to right tackle with the second-team unit. Jones admitted he was, quote, a little surprised. He was competing with the ones this early, but understands the importance of the reps he has gotten, which have helped him create a pre-snap process, learn different cadences, and move faster. Look, what does this tell us? Because a lot of you are like, oh, we've already talked about this. Yeah, but more and more media members who have been at practice, been at Hallis Hall throughout the offseason, continue to say this guy has stood out. This guy has impressed. The more you hear that, the more you got to believe it, right? He's getting first-team reps. He's standing out to people who have covered the NFL and covered this team for a long time. I think there's something here. I really think there's something here. Now, until the pads go on, until we see him play, even in a preseason game, we won't know for sure, but for now, this is your starting left tackle. There's nothing to suggest that will not be the case. Now, I will concede that left tackle, right guard, right tackle are all up for grabs here. I think left guard and center are set with Cody Whitehair and Lucas Patrick. We'll see at the other three spots. I expect there to be competition. But for now, you could argue based on the offseason program that Braxton Jones might be the most likely spot set in stone outside of for those other three spots, I should say. Right guard, I don't know, Sam Mustipher, I guess. Right tackle, you've already moved Larry Borom from left to right. I would be hard to say that that's set in stone. Left tackle, though, Braxton Jones last 2 weeks got all the reps there. Kind of feels like he's a clear front runner. Like I said, we'll see what happens when the pads go on at training camp, which starts in less than a month. Will Braxton Jones start week 1? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Predict it for us down below. I think he's going to, unless the Bears sign another player. Now, we did a video all about Braxton Jones. I think a week ago today, last Monday, I think is when we did it. Who is Braxton Jones? Kind of talked about his journey. Different type of video. You guys seem to like the feedback. But for those of you who have not seen it, go subscribe, youtube.com/BearsNow. Go to the videos tab or the content tab and go find this video. And you guys can go check it out. I took a deeper dive into the 5th-round rookie out of Southern Utah. Talked about his journey as an under-recruited player all the way up to having a chance to start for the Chicago Bears as a rookie. Had a fun time doing it. So go check that out and all of our other videos on the channel. We'll be back tomorrow for our live episode of Bears Now. Until then, so long and bear down.